Hello, in this video I'll show you how to create a fishing themed design in Cricut Design Space for a Father's Day gift. I'm using this design to create a card, but you could use this design to make a shirt, mugs, or any other type of project you can think of. For this design, we want an image of a man fishing, an image of a fishing lure, and an image of a fish. We can find these online by searching for royalty-free images or paying for an image that you like. I found this picture to use as the lure that will form the shape of the A. I started by uploading the picture into my photo editing software. I use Pixelmator, but there's many different photo editing softwares that work for this. I start out by deleting the background away from what picture I want to upload into Cricut Design Space. To do this, I use the purple highlighter tool, which identifies entire sections based on color differences in the images. I highlight a section and press delete to remove any color from those pixels. Once I have the largest and easiest areas of the background removed, I'm going to highlight the entire fishing lure and color it black. Making it all one color will make it easier for me to see where I have any missed pixels that won't cut out right on Cricut Design Space. I press Command and the Shift key to highlight multiple areas and add it into the same selection. I use the Command and the Alt key to remove any areas from the selection. By using these keys, I highlight only the fishing lure that I want to color black. After the entire fishing lure is selected, I click the paintbrush tool from the left toolbar. I increase the size of the paintbrush by pressing the bracket key on my keyboard. I make sure the color is set to black, and then I paint over everything. Then I press Command-Shift-I, which inverts the selection to everything that's not the lure. Then I use my eraser tool and make the eraser extra large and delete all of the background. I press Command-D to deselect the area. Now I alternate between using the eraser tool and the paintbrush tool to clean up all of the lines around the fishing lure. Later on, I export this image as a PNG file to upload into Cricut Design Space, so I'm making sure that any of the areas that are black are thick enough that it'll cut well on the Cricut. Especially on the feathers of this fishing lure, I need to add a lot of thickness to some of these lines. I use this same process to clean up the picture of the man fishing and to clean up the picture of the fish. The man fishing is going to be in the first letter D, and the fish is going to be in the last letter D. Once I've finished making all of the edits to this photo, I export it as a PNG. A PNG file type saves all of the layers as one layer, so this will upload really smoothly into Cricut Design Space. I click Upload Image and Browse to select this from my file folder. I upload this as a simple file type because there's only 2 colors. Then I scroll down to More Options and reduce the colors to 2. This way, I'll remove any background that I might have missed in my photo editing tool. I click Apply and Continue, select Cut Image, and upload this to Cricut Design Space. Then I click to add it to my canvas. It uploads as a pretty large size, so I click the lock button and scale it down. Then I upload the picture of the bass, and I start designing the word Dad. I click Text from the left-hand toolbar and type the word Dad. Then, with the word Dad selected, I click Font at the top left. I filter by my fonts, and then I scroll down to find a font that I like. In this case, I'm going to use Arial Narrow. Now, with the word Dad selected, I click Advanced at the top right. From the drop-down, I select Ungroup Letters. This lets me select and work on the D's and the A individually. I insert shapes to cover the center of the D's and to cover the triangle that's in the A. Once I have the shapes fully lined up so that there's no white space shining through, but the edges of the letters aren't compromised, I weld everything together. I use the same process to cover the triangle that's in the top of the A and weld that together too. Then I just copied a new D. Now I'm going to design one letter at a time. The fisherman holding the fishing pole is going to be cut out of the first letter D, so I line this up so that it takes up most of the space where the inside of the letter D is. Once I have the fisherman lined up where I like it, I copy and paste a new version of the fisherman, and then I slice the original fisherman out of the letter D. I remove the pieces of the slicing, and I'm left with the letter D with a hole in it. Next, I design the inside of the letter A. I bring the fishing lure down to the letter A and bring it to the front so I can see what I'm working on. I drop the size down so that it fits appropriately in the top half of the A. Then I create a copy. Next, I highlight the fishing lure and the letter A and align it horizontally. Then, with the A and the fishing lure still highlighted, I click Slice. After I've sliced it, I delete out the duplicates. Finally, I design the letter D. I follow the same process of arranging the design in the center of the letter, slicing the design out of the letter, and then deleting the duplicates. Now I highlight all three letters and align to top. Then I have to distribute them horizontally. Luckily, there's a feature on the Cricut for this. I click Align, and at the very bottom, I click Distribute Horizontally. Now I like to take a step back and think about how well this image is going to cut on the Cricut. I thought the fishing rod was a little bit too small to have a clean cut, so I inserted a rectangle to increase the size of the fishing rod. Then I sliced it out of the letter D. Then I thought it would look nice to have the bass be connected to the fishing line. So I sliced off a piece of the fishing rod and connected it to the bass's mouth. Then I sliced it out of the letter D. Next, I inserted a rectangle and set the rectangle size to be 14 by 10 inches. I started out at 5 by 7, which would be one side of the card, but I want this card to fold in half, and I wanted the dad to be on the longer side, so I ended up doing 14 inches wide and 10 inches high. Then I inserted another rectangle and set this rectangle to be 10 inches high and 0.2 inches wide. Under the operation type at the top left, I clicked the drop-down and selected Guide. Then I centered this guide with the rectangle behind it. I reattached the three letters of the word Dad before I start designing how they'll look on the card. I want to use the writing feature of the Cricut to write Happy Father's Day on the card. I insert text and type Happy Father's Day. Then I select the font from the top left drop-down. I filter by My Fonts and then choose a font that I like. For this, I used Apple Chancery. After the word Fathers, I pressed Enter to put the word Day on a new line, and then under Alignment from the top toolbar, I clicked Center. Then I decreased the size until it fit onto the card. I highlighted this text, and then under Operation, I selected Pin. For the card to fold right, Dad and Happy Father's Day need to be on the right side of the card. Now to properly line up Dad and Happy Father's Day, I insert a new square. I set this square to be 10 inches high and 0.1 inches wide. The first rectangle I center to the card. I highlight both, click Align, and then click Center. Then I copy and paste this rectangle and add it to the far right side of the card. I highlight this rectangle and the card, then I click Align and Center vertically. Then I click Align and Align to the right. Now to make sure I'm selecting the right features, I select from the right-hand layer bar. I select both of the two rectangles that I just created, and I select the text for Happy Father's Day. Then I click Align from the top toolbar and select Distribute Horizontally. This ensures that the Happy Father's Day text will be evenly centered on the very front of the card. I want to create an outline around the word Dad in pen on the card that we're making. It's easiest to use the offset feature to do this, but if I were to offset right now, I would get duplicate lines through all of our cutout spaces. So I made a copy of our designed word Dad, and now I'm filling in all of the holes. I put the different shapes over the empty spaces and weld everything together. Then, from the top left, I changed the operation type from Basic Cut to Pen. Now I select Offset from the top toolbar and I type in 0.05 inches. I click Apply and have an offset of 0.05 inches. You can see on the screen what it would look like if we weren't creating this offset from solid letters. I delete the previous offset that I had tried, and then I center this offset over our designed letters. Before I click Make It, I select the card outline, the pen for the word Dad, and the pen for the words Happy Father's Day, and attach them together. Then I click Make It. I select to manually load my materials, and then click Continue. Here you can see what we're going to cut out and what we're going to draw with the pen on the first sheet of paper. After this is done, the machine will cut out the designs for each of the 3 letters of the word Dad. To load the pen, I open up the latch, press the pen tightly into place, and then close the latch back onto the pen. The last step that I forgot to mention is that I scaled down the card to fit on the normal sized Cricut mat. So instead of 14 by 10 inches, I did 11 by 7.8 inches. After the Cricut machine had finished drawing and cutting the base of the card, it prompted me to change the material over for our second cut operation. Once the designed letters were fully cut out, I saved the large piece of cardstock and gently removed the letters from the sticky mat. I used simple Elmer's glue to attach the cut letters to the top of our card. It was really nice having the outline around the word Dad, so it was very easy to line the letters up where they were supposed to go. I couldn't get the nozzle on the Elmer's glue to work, so I'm just painting it on here with a paintbrush. You could also use hot glue to attach the paper to the top of the card, but I didn't want to risk having any hot glue strings show up in our cutout images. I placed a box of colored pencils over the top of the glued down letters just so that they would dry flat to the paper. Then I used a marker to fill in the rest of the letters for Happy Father's Day. Thanks for watching this video on how to create a fishing themed design in Cricut Design Space for a Father's Day gift. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and as always, like and subscribe to see more content.